Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Bouncesaur.
And, man, 17 in a row. Who would have thought? Us. We thought that. I especially thought that. Even though I think I said we'd separate late. That isn't necessarily what happened, but we still won. 17 in a row, and it was relatively stress-free after the first quarter.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, they kind of had that stretch there where they had that super long drive at the end of the second quarter. I was like, okay, if they get this 2-for-1 here with the first drive of the third quarter, I'll be worried. But no, we responded super well there. So I mean, really, this whole game was the Cats getting hit in the mouth with adversity and responding really, really well, which was great. It made it a super satisfying win. Obviously helped set us over our rivals. But even absent that, this was the best game of the year for K-State, and it's not close.
No. And I think the funniest thing is you wouldn't know that if you took out the score and just looked at the box score, for stats for individual players, you wouldn't really know that. Especially because, I mean, you look at it, some of the stats actually look pretty pedestrian. But Connor, you know that there are times that I'm averse to sort of taking victory laps, and there are other times that I'm not. This is one of those times where I'm not. I was telling people, I went on 2 different shows saying, yeah, KU can't, they don't have the horses to get explosive plays and true man coverage. Lo and behold, that was the game plan. So I will give myself flowers for that. What I won't give myself flowers for is on the Around the Horn episode, I said there would be 3 messed up snaps and 2 wouldn't matter. There were, I believe, 2, and 1 ended up in a touchdown. So, oh well.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was just 2, and they were both KU side, I believe, right? Yeah. So, I mean, regardless, for super specific prediction, that's closer to right than most of them get. So, you at least deserve some partial credit there. For that super specific prediction. But yeah, I mean, I think we both had really weird experiences watching this game as well, just logistically.
Yeah,
because
which is why this is coming out a day later.
Yeah, for me, I had a wedding in Kansas City the same day, and so I was going to try and go to a restaurant to watch it, but when I got there, it was already completely filled up. And so I ended up just watching probably 60% of the game, just sitting in my car in a parking lot in Kansas City, Missouri. And then I listened to probably another 15% driving to a hotel, and then watched the last 8 minutes of the game, just on the hotel TV. So that was definitely one of the more strange game watching experiences I've had, but it worked. Yours, though, I think was infinitely more strange, though, and maybe a bit more meta as well.
Yeah. So I went to Arkansas. I went to go see the Arkansas-Auburn game because my girlfriend wanted to see her sister. So we all went down. And first off, that game was weird because the Arkansas announcer was bragging about how they put up 21 unanswered, and then Auburn, I think, dropped 24 unanswered on their heads. So, that's not really what you want to see. But I was sat in the upper deck, literally switching between watching the KU K-State game on my phone, getting a play-in of the Arkansas game, and then just switching back and forth. It was also raining that entire game. And the funniest part is the chair that I was sitting in just snapped. It just broke. They actually had those, up and down stadium chairs. My fat ass just broke it. it just snapped. I'm not that fat. Like, let me clarify. I do enjoy myself some chicken. I do enjoy some fries. I am not break stadium chair fat. Apparently, I am though.
I don't know. I agree with you. I mean, like, break stadium chair fat is like probably like maybe 0.5% of the population of the United States, and you are nowhere close to that. So, like that is without a doubt faulty stadium design, but I'd expect nothing less from the Arkansas Razorbacks. So
you would also think that with the average BMI of Arkansas, you think their chairs would be able to withstand such force.
Yeah, I was at the Liberty Bowl in 2015, so I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be one to throw stones on this topic, but it's regardless, very interesting experiences watching this game. Certainly not ideal, but it worked. And K-State, despite having its most disappointing season arguably ever, but certainly since 2004, still dominates the rivalry and extends it to 17 straight.
Yeah, and now we can get kind of into more individual performances. I think if you were to give out an offensive game ball, it'd be split between two people. But, I mean, you always have to talk about the quarterback first, especially with it being a Kansas kid. Avery Johnson going 11 of 17, 231 through the air with 2 touchdowns and 2 more touchdowns on the ground with 6 for 17. Yeah, that looks like an average stat line for like a good college quarterback. And I think that's more an indictment on KU as a team than it is on Avery. Because, I mean, they were just gifting K-State short fields left and right. And K-State didn't really need to do a whole lot on offense to thoroughly pants KU, which is perhaps the funniest outcome.
Yeah, I mean, what a game Avery had. And it didn't take him too much to do so much damage. I mean, he only had 17 dropbacks and only completed 11 passes, so 13.6 yards per attempt for Avery. PFF gave him 4 big-time throws on this game, and Avery ended up with a grade of 91.9. Which led K-State. I believe that's his best on the season, or might even be the best on his career. But he was fantastic. And yeah, you're right. Like 11 of 17 for 231 and 2 touchdowns. While a good stat line doesn't jump off the page as just incredible game, but he was. I think he really did have one of the best passing games of his career. He had a few throws in particular I thought that were excellent. The Jerron Tibbs touchdown pass was one of the best throws that Avery's had in his career. That was a fantastic ball and a really good catch, an underratedly difficult catch by Jerron Tibbs, but a great ball by Avery. And then his deep ball to Jace was also great on the long touchdown. Avery, we didn't use him as a running threat as much as I thought we would, but when we did, it was near the goal line and it was to great effectiveness, which I think could be a great way to keep his mobility as a major factor while still limiting the number of hits he's taking in the running game. Short yardage, got to have it situations like the 4th and 1 conversion, and then our goal to go touchdown runs for him. Those are good ways to utilize his legs if the other parts of the offense are working like they were in this game.
Yeah, and the other parts of the offense, if you look at the rushing stat line, only 140 on the day against a really, really bad KU run defense. Joe Jackson going 20 of 69, no touchdowns. than just a slattering of other mediocre performances and Jacob Knuth turning into a mobile quarterback for a single play. And, it's just with the running backs that are currently on the roster. I mean, Joe Jackson is very much a sort of one-cut back. That's someone who's going to be hurt by the weather in these types of games. Plus, I think that KU had just determined, we're not going to let them run all over us. Instead, we decided to pass all over them with like the 30 yards of field that they gave us.
Yeah. I felt like Joe Jackson did fine, all things considered. I mean, 55 of his 69 rushing yards were yards after contact. So he was getting hit early and often. And I think that speaks to what you were saying, that KU was really kind of selling out on stopping the run in this game. I mean, that's why Jace averaged 40 yards per reception, which is just absurd. But Joe, I thought, was fine. Devon Rice only had 3 handoffs, so there's not a lot to judge there. But Jacob Knuth, I didn't realize he had wheels like that, honestly. He ended up, from just 5 plays, being the 3rd highest graded player on the team at a 90.5, which is a bit generous, I think. But still good to see him get some play. And then otherwise, Ontario Elston and Antonio Martin, they each played a little bit at the end, but there was just garbage time stuff. Yeah, the run game didn't really take off the way I was hoping it would, but I do think you're right. I think he really made a point of not letting us just get explosive run after explosive run. And to their credit, they didn't let us do that. So, in fairness to them. But we had other ways to beat them, and we did.
So I'm going to go ahead and time this episode because something very funny just happened. Connor, I need you to open Twitter because I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you.
Oh, boy.
Because the funniest possible outcome has occurred.
Okay. Let me...
I'll give you a hint. It's recruiting related.
I just thought.
So for the uninformed, JJ Dunnigan just decommitted from KU.
Breaking news. Yeah, well, yeah. So the number 1 player in the state is back on the market. I do not think he will be a Wildcat, even though he is from Manhattan. His dad played at K-State. Despite that, I do like to think that we did ruin the thought of KU for him, and therefore have directly harmed KU in multiple ways. But that man will be playing some SEC football next year. So
either that or he's going to go to Nebraska. I think Nebraska was in the lead of his recruitment before he committed to KU.
Yeah, he's been posting some offers recently, though. He just got a Georgia Tech offer recently. Colorado offered him back in September. So maybe it's just those 2 that I'm thinking of, but those are the ones that he's talked about publicly. But I don't know. That you're right. That is very funny, and that's worth stopping the episode for, because KU made a very big deal about bringing all of their in-state commitments to this game, because this is like kind of their big push this year to dominate in-state recruiting. And we're now about 48 hours removed, a little over 48 hours removed from the K-State KU game, and they have lost their top-rated prospect right after they were thrashed on their home field by K-State. So safe to say that this recruiting weekend has backfired pretty heavily for KU. Now, I know that individual games and individual results on their own don't play as big a bearing on recruiting as I think most people think. But the timing is really funny, so I will willingly spread misinformation about that. So, but
yeah, I just, man, apparently he locked in a visit to Miami. So, I don't think that he's coming to K-State. I don't really want him to, but because we've had our fair share of headaches, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But anyway, back to the game. That actually did happen. That's so funny. We will have a dedicated man. That's really funny that happened segment at the back end of this episode. But my personal pick for who would get the game ball would probably be Jace Brown, going 4 for 160, including 2 really, really good catches, one being a really good adjustment, and the other just being keeping the play alive and ending up at the 1 yard line. Probably should have had the touchdown there. But 4 for 160 and a tutty, that'll play. Jerron Tibbs going 2 for 43 with a touchdown. Like you said, that was an amazing catch and an amazing ball. Lincoln Cure getting 2 catches. I think it's his first multi-catch day. Then Braden Lofton 1 for 9, Joe Jackson 2 for 1. So other than Jace, fine day for just about everyone else. But, I mean, Jace.
yeah, and Jace is obviously the guy here. 4 catches for 160. Somebody posted his career stats against KU. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they were, I think he in 3 games is over 300 yards now against KU. So he has been fantastic against the Jayhawks, and was fantastic in this game. Again, only 4 catches, but having the impact that he did in those 4 catches and just 4 targets as well. That's big time. And from listening to the post game, it sounded like the touchdown was a check at the line from Avery and Jace, because we were going to run the ball. And if you listen to the radio, they were talking, Wyatt and Stan, about and we really needed to grind clock and run the ball on that drive. And then, of course, you hit a 78-yard home run on the first play. But that was a check at the line from Avery and Jace to get into that touchdown, because, I mean, they were running press single coverage on Jace with a redshirt freshman, and that just wasn't going to work. So they took advantage of that, and a good read of the defense as well by Avery. But yeah, Jace, just a lethal weapon, and is really cementing himself as one of the better K-State receivers ever at this point. He's 36 catches on the season, approaching 600 yards at 577. And that's with, I think, missing, was it 1 or 2 games?
Yeah, he missed. You could say 2. I know that he verifiably missed 1. The second one was he basically didn't play the duration of the UCF game.
That's right. Yeah. So, hyper productive year for Jace Brown. I wish him a very NFL next year, but not in a derogatory way. Justin, I have no illusions about him returning, but I think I would agree that he earned the game ball.
Yeah. And I also want to give flowers to the offensive line, because they didn't allow a single sack on the day. And that's up against a KU defense that, I mean, almost by necessity, sends a ton in the way of the blitz. I will say I did give flowers to one of their edge rushers, Leroy Harris III. And I still do think that he's a good edge rusher. However, I also mentioned that he was extremely feast or famine. Welcome to the famine. And yeah, obviously some of that was Avery showing his mobility, but the offensive line was doing an amazing job at giving him wide open lanes for him to step up into to get those passes off. So I just want to give the offensive line, because they've kind of been dunked on by the fan base, though they have been a lot better lately. But they've been dumpstered on for the duration of the season. So they had an amazing game.
Yeah, Avery, according to PFF, pressured only 4 times on his 17 dropbacks. So pressure rate just 23.5%. Really, really great from the KC offensive line.
Yeah. Then moving to the opposite side of the ball, the defense had themselves a day. If you take out the fumble where on the opening possession where Connor and I both thought that was the end, we saw everything flashing in front of us, and it took one special team snap. But if you take that out, they only allowed a total of 10 points on the day. So, if you take out we'll spot you 7, it's only 10 points. And I especially want to shout out the defensive line. Ryan Davis, I felt like had a really solid day, ended up recording a sack. Jordan Allen, Chidiobi Izor split half a sack. Malcolm Alcorn Crowder continues to be a revelation. Damian Ilalio records a sack. So defensive line was doing a great job at not only containing the rushing game because they only got 110 yards on 40 attempts, and some of that was just Jalen Daniels running for his life, but they were getting pretty consistent pressure and making Jalen Daniels' life much more difficult than he's been used to these past couple weeks.
No, yeah. The only thing that we were missing on making Jalen run around was an effective spy, because it was a pretty rough day for Austin Romaine. Granted, he's playing through a broken wrist, so one hand is just a cast right now. So I get that makes things a lot more difficult, but definitely more than a few occasions where Jalen should have been stopped for a shorter gain than he got. But still credit to Austin for playing through that injury. And tackling as a whole wasn't great. In this game, PFF lists us with, get this, 18 missed tackles in this game, which is really, really bad. In fact, they credit Austin Romaine alone with 7 missed tackles in this game, which is very, 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 very bad. Not the best tackle day. Granted, it being a rainy day makes that much harder already for a guy like Austin Romaine, especially factoring in his injury. So, and ultimately, the defense did play well, I think, outside of tackling. They created a ton of havoc in this game. They had 8 pass breakups in this game, with, if you include batted balls, a couple of interceptions, forced fumble, several tackles for loss, 17 total pressures on Jalen Daniels as well. So they were busy. They kept really busy, and they played really good football. I think especially on the back end of the defense, Joe Klanderman's coverage calls kept KU's offense really confused, especially in the first half, it felt like, where really their only effective drive of the day was a lot of dink and dunk and check down. Pretty much all of their routine explosive plays that we've gotten so used to seeing over the last few years, they were completely negated. I think it was, I can't remember who it was that posted, maybe Ryan Wallace posted a wide angle of an action that KU runs a lot, a fake speed option with like the running back wheel route to the opposite side. And that, like, they run it like 2-3 times a game and it's always open. And the one time they ran it against us, Desmond Purnell was all over it, and pressure was getting there too. So I really felt like we were ready for the tricks that KU was going to play. This was probably the most prepared our defense has looked, at least to me as a lay person. Nothing they tried really got us to bite. And it was a really disciplined game. And I was, all in all, super happy with how we played. Again, the missed tackles suck, but playing in the rain, you're going to deal with some of that. So I I won't complain too much about that. I'll try not to, at least.
Yeah. I think my favorite part about the game is this is one of those rare situations where Joe Kleinerman being very, very stubborn was a benefit, because I mentioned before, KU wants you to never play man coverage against them. And Joe Kleinerman just said, I'm going to do it anyway. It was so bad to where former KU players, also known as Devin Neal, said, they're just manning us up and there isn't anything we can do about it. It's just funny. Anyway, there were 2 picks as well. We'll skip over. Well, you mentioned the linebackers. So the defensive backfield, I felt like had a really good day, played really good man coverage, and they ended up getting 2 picks. Daniel Cobbs mentioned Ra. Gunnar Maldonado also got himself a pick. I believe that was the pick against Cole Ballard. But yeah, 2 picks. You're never going to complain about that. And whenever they're playing as good man coverage as they were playing, there's no reason to get out of it unless you are literally forced to. And apparently they're not good enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of plays on defense where like there was a camera angle of like Emmanuel Henderson kind of breaking deep, but nothing seemed to ever really work the way that KU was hoping it would. So like even when they did get someone breaking deep, it was either Jalen missing the throw or it was just too little too late. So, I mean, like ironically, Jace Brown kind of had the stat line that you might have expected Emmanuel Henderson to have if you had predicted KU to win this game. But we both predicted K-State wins in this one. So you can say that we're surprised. I mean, I'm still a little bit surprised, but it's still a great game for Jace. But yeah, big shout out to the pass defense. This was the worst game that Jalen has played all year. By far the worst game that KU's offense has had all year, other than, I guess, the Tech game. But yeah, genuinely a fantastic day for K-State. And one of the first games where we've really been able to kind of empty the bench a little bit and get a lot of backups in at the tail end. So I've got a few guys in. Holden Bass got a snap. Weston Polk got a snap, the true freshman. Ralph Ortiz did. Jet Deneen got a snap on defense, has a Mikey Bergeron. So we got a few guys in there. 31 guys played for KC on defense. That's with a lot of rotation as well. But a really, really effective game. And I think one more thing that should be noted about the defense is, I mean, the raw stats are already really great. KU only had 247 total yards, but K-State their defense was on the field 78 plays in this game, which the level of defense that they played for 78 plays is absolutely fantastic and really, really difficult. So for 78 plays of football in the rain, the K-State defense held KU to 3.16 yards per play. Jalen Daniels only had 3.7 yards per pass. They had 2.8 yards per rush. Then they also turned it over 4 times. And KU did all of that while winning the time of possession battle. But K-State defensively just suffocated KU in this game. So major shout out to Joe Kleinerman. Desmond Purnell continued his reign of terror in this game. He probably should have had a pick 6. I think if it hadn't been a rainy day, he does have a pick 6 early in this game. But Ryan Davis should have had a pick in this game as well when he dropped back into coverage. And Jalen just never saw him.
Valid. That's valid.
It really was. But yeah, that just a great defensive clinic put on by Joe Kleinerman in this game. He deserves a lot of credit because We and the fan base have been pretty hard on him at times this year. But this was a great game from Joe Klanderman. A really good game from Matt Wells as well, which I don't think we talked about much. But both coordinators, I think, really turned out for this game.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much said everything that we're going to say, like, sort of analytically. Now we can just drop all and any semblance of professionalism that we already didn't really have. And now we can just kind of sit back and laugh, because the series of events that has happened this year is very funny to watch as a K-State fan, because not only do you get 2 weeks before, you basically get Travis Goff throwing Lance Leipold under the bus because a staffer drops a pocket knife, and then they try to make it a big deal by saying that Texas Tech threw pocket knives at them after they just got pantsed on national television. Lance Leipold then gets fined for saying things about it and trying to perpetuate that narrative. They come off a bye week. They say, this is going to be the year we beat the streak. They get a fumble on the first play of the game, and that gives them hope. And then the rest of the game happens. The receipts get pulled. KU fans want Lance Leipold fired. I feel extremely validated for saying that he is one of the most painfully okay coaches in the Big 12. Don't get me wrong. He's still like top 75%. I don't think he's the worst coach in the Big 12. I'm not that much. Well, I am that much of a hater, but I'm also not just going to lie to people. But KU fans want him fired. He's never beaten K-State. He's come close twice, but those have been the most painful ways to lose a game possible. JD 0-6 gets to have his legacy just like his number up against K-State. Not a single victory there, especially since he was around to play K-State before Christ. So, it really was a great day. And then 48 hours later, KU loses the top-ranked recruit in the state after talking all year that, we pulled a guy from Manhattan. This is going to be like the beginning of us winning in-state recruiting. 48 hours later, after getting bitch smacked on their own field, he decommits. And now everything looks awful for them. And you know what? I don't care if I do care a little bit. If we don't win a game for like the rest of the year, I will still look back on this week and say, yeah, you know what? This week may have made the rest of the BS we've had to put up with this year. That may have made it worth it.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how quick fortunes can turn in college sports. We see it all over the place. Like Brian Kelly down at LSU, Clemson, they're down on their luck. Georgia Tech, they're up right now, but I can't use a great example of this locally. They opened a new $300 million, 2/3 of a stadium, and it's I'm like fans like on their message boards are already kind of turning on it a little bit. Like I've seen some screenshots of their fans talking about how like the concession facilities suck, the bathrooms suck. Like there's pictures of like standing water around drains and stuff. It's like they just built this like this year, and it's like already like behind on maintenance. It's like shocking to me. So clearly a rush job there. But even then they fake a sellout by just putting all their tickets on SeatGeek. And then they barely get over 40,000 people to show up anyways. And they're all gone by the fourth quarter. And K-State, like I said at the beginning, like this has been the most disappointing season that we've had probably in my lifetime. And despite that, we still beat KU by 25 points in their own place. in a game that I think they had really billed as being like their coming out party in the state of Kansas. But instead, just over 48 hours later, they're losing their top recruit, who's supposed to be like this generational talent. Additionally, like the whole pocket knife deal is still really funny. Apparently, they fired the staffer. But like, I mean, like they want to fire Leipold now. Like, genuinely, like they're done with them. And I kind of get where they're coming from, because I think they peaked when Les Miles's recruits were at their last year or like second to last year, and they still had Andy Telnicki, and they had Leipold's coaching, but with the good players or the better players gone, they're now just they're kind of.
You could say Leipold can't recruit. Like, you can just say that.
Well, I mean, I am saying that, but this KU team just feels like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like worse Cincinnati. Like it's like if Satterfield was a better coach, but significantly worse at building a roster. And also, I don't know how charismatic Scott Satterfield is or isn't, but if he is at all, then we'll say that Leipold is him without charisma.
Yeah, if he's not like a literal misanthrope that looks and sounds like he would drop a nuclear bomb on a major city, yeah, he's more charismatic than Lance Leipold. That man is like he has no charisma, and anything that he does either sounds phony or painfully awkward.
Yeah, and he's a whiner like Matt Campbell is. But Campbell can kind of get away with the psycho act a little. I mean, he is whiny for sure, and it annoys me. But like, he has the mannerisms to go with it. It's like Leipold, it just feels different. It's like Bruce Weber yelling. It's like, I'm unmoved by this. I think you're just making a fool of yourself. But and then, I mean, the whole KU fan base as well, they really felt that this was like the year that the streak was falling, and that apparently they had a meeting with Kleiman during the week about field storming, and I mean, their whole student section was gone before the game was over. So, shoot, I mean, and then throw in on top of all the stuff about football, the K-State KU baseball scrimmage, K-State wins that 16-2. And then KU volleyball moves. They ask us permission to flip the home and away Sunflower Showdown games so they can move their home volleyball game against us to Allen Fieldhouse to try and break their attendance record and to get the game on ESPNU and make it this huge deal to try and create this like KU over K-State whole weekend event thing. And then they blow it in 5 sets while being ranked in the top 15 in Allen. So this whole like KU weekend of dominance over K-State deal with like all the recruits coming in, breaking in the new stadium and the Sunflower Showdown, the volleyball mishap for them, and then throw in the baseball scrimmage on top as just a cherry on top. I mean, this was like nightmare, disaster, horrifying, scary time weekend for KU. Like, it genuinely could not have gone worse for them, I don't think, than like how this weekend went. Like, and they're like still like going to struggle to sell tickets the rest of the year. That stadium is not paying for itself. There's a reason that their tickets are so expensive, and it's because they are in some trouble. I think if they don't start getting good, they don't start getting good quick. But shoot, I don't even know Leipold's going to be the coach. Well, no, he probably will be. His buyout's way too high, but they can't afford that right now. Like, but I mean, yeah, they want their coach gone now because I mean, They found their place, and their place is, after 10 years of 3-9 or worse, they're now
mid
5-7, 6-6.
Yeah,
and it only cost $500 million.
I think the Leipold contract may go down as one of the worst ones in the country for right now, because obviously Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly, in hindsight, just with the buyouts, are going to look horrid.
Right.
But at least you could justify it by saying that they were at one point, they were good coaches. Now, Brian Kelly being his own bag of worms, personally, I hope that he never coaches again, because he literally killed a kid, and people just don't like talking about that. No, he killed a kid. He's the reason why some kid is dead.
Yeah, and it's not ancient history. It was 15 years ago. And it's not a secret either. It's insanity that people don't talk about that more.
Yeah,
I guess at least Leipold hasn't killed someone.
True.
It could be worse. Could be worse.
It's a low bar, but he clears it.
He does clear. Credit to Lance Leipold. There's 2 L's. There's 2 L's in his initials, not 3. So,
yeah, now that we've spent, I think, the better part of 15 minutes dunking on KU, which, don't get me wrong, very fun. I enjoyed it. We can talk a little bit about K-State, because technically their hopes for a Big 12 title are still alive. I wouldn't bank on it. In fact, I think this team is more likely to be 6-6 than 8-4 and going to Arlington based off of 8-4 record, because the teams that they are currently, quote unquote, in contention are BYU and Cincinnati at 5-0, but they play one another. Texas Tech, Houston at 4-1, and then 4 schools at 3-2: Utah, Arizona State, K-State, and TCU. So those are kind of like the in contention schools. The thing is, I think I was right to be scared of Willie Fritz, and I will always be scared of Willie Fritz. Cincinnati, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I can say that because we don't play them this year. BYU, maybe Mormons have a point, because there's no reason they should be as good as they are, or there's no reason that they should be winning at the level that they are. Texas Tech is just, they're a team of mercenaries, but they're the most talented mercenaries in the conference, and it's not particularly close. Utah, literally only one thing scares me about them, and that is their defense and the fact that we are playing them in Utah. And then Arizona State just cannot get all their pieces healthy all at once. But if I had to pick who would be playing in Arlington, I'd probably go. Let me see who BYU plays, because I know they play Cincinnati. I'm not picking Cincinnati to be there. They play TCU, Cincy, and UCF. So damn it, I think BYU might make it. So I'm gonna go BYU, Texas. Yeah, actually, you know what? We'll go BYU and Houston, because I think Texas Tech is going to slip up again. But K-State is still theoretically in it. A lot of things have to fall their way, and of course they have to win out, which includes beating a Texas Tech squad this weekend, going to Stillwater, even though, is it a jinx? Can I say it? Because I feel like if it's a jinx anymore, it just has to do with Stillwater, not me.
To say what about Stillwater?
No, to talk about Oklahoma State. Because every time I've talked about Oklahoma State in a negative light, we've been embarrassed. And by we, I mean me. And by we, I also mean the K-State team.
If we lose to them this year with how bad they are, it's just not your fault. There's nothing I think that could be done, to influence that result from our position. It's because they are just terrible. I'll say it for you. So
yeah, so we get to play them in Stillwater. The one that I will say that I have us going 2-2 on this back stretch of games, just to not hide the ball. Obviously, things can change as the games progress. I have us winning Oklahoma State and Colorado and probably dropping against Texas Tech and Utah. So, 6-6, a massive disappointment. But, I mean, technically there is a world where 8-4 Kleiman strikes again and we're in Arlington.
Yeah, I mean, if we went out and enough things fall our way, we can certainly make it still. Like that, it's not an impossibility. Obviously, it's really improbable, but it can happen. Like we went out, Tech loses to BYU, Houston loses to TCU, Arizona State loses to Arizona or Iowa State. It's still too early to like this like championship game chances thing. It's like it's way too early to like just like show like people's chances, because right now there's like 8.5 million possible outcomes. So, and I don't think that this website I found can handle that. So, and I am not a mathematician, so I'm just not going to try. I'm just not going to try and calculate that.
I don't mind you. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, and even if I did have time for it, I don't want to. So,
yeah. Point being, we're still alive, but I mean, the baseline goal of embarrass KU has been met. So for me, the rest of the season is house money.
Yeah, it's obviously I really want us to beat Tech because that's a big stage. I mean, 2:30 p.m. On Fox. We're getting Jason Benetti as well, who I love. So if we win, then I'll get to watch us do good football with Jason Benetti talking about it in the background, which is a lot of fun. It's one of the best parts of the 2022 K-State Oklahoma State highlights. Just Jason Benetti talking about Will Howard throwing dots all around the field. So fingers crossed that we can put up a good performance against Texas Tech. But I mean, they're a remarkably talented team. So it'll be tough. But I mean, I do think if we went out and miss the conference title game, we are going to look back on the Baylor game in particular and just be absolutely haunted by that result. Because I think the team that K-State has put on the field the last two games, TCU and KU, I think they beat Baylor probably by 10 at least. So it's frustrating that it took this long to get the version of K-State that we had all hoped existed. But despite being far too late, I'm glad they're here because they're a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a better way for me to say it, so I think that's best to sort of leave it off there. Do you have any final notes?
K-State baseball winning 16-2. Super funny.
Very funny. Anyway, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggieVilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I'm at ACEdwards00.
I'm at Connor Bouncor, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store. Link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, or anything between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.